it's become quite interesting because, like, for example, if you see even the magazine you're looking at, we have a cover story, then we've got videos. So it's different platforms appealing to different people. I think local brands. So here's the thing with me. For as long as it's great quality, we'll definitely push it. What I love about local brands is that they always have a story.
So in the very first conversation that we had, I was like, yo, over the past few years, I've definitely seen a change in the energy that GQ has, It's from when I was a child. I've always been a child of fashion, loving the industry, loving the arts, the creative space. And GQ's always been super important.
Welcome to the Welcome to the Posties. Welcome to the Posties. Welcome to the Posties podcast. You know the vibes. Another day with my brother. Timber, how you doing, brother?
Bro, I'm good. Guys, as you saw last week,
Yes, sir.
even though we're transported now,
Yes, sir.
it's a new week now, guys. Thank you for liking, thank you for commenting, thank you for subscribing, thank you for coming back to another Posties family meeting. We're here with Solid again at Influx. Shout out Uncle Sam. And this one has been in the works for a little bit of time,
Bro,
We've been pushing this episode for a little bit of
you see him blushing now when he mentioned the time.
Rosy cheeks.
Sir, cheese, rosy cheese. Ladies and gentlemen, if you don't know the face, you know the name. If you don't know the name, you know the work. And the work speaks for itself. It's boundless. It's international, boy. How you doing, Mr. Moss?
There. That's pretty dope, right? That's pretty. It's really here. Okay. It's fire.
Yeah.
I'm happy. Right. It's fire.
Guys, Molife Molten.
Molife.
Molife Molten. I'm still gonna keep the Molten in there.
Come on, I've been on money summers like that's crazy.
But I also like calling you Molife.
I know you do.
How are you doing on this beautiful Saturday?
I'm good. It's warm in Cape Town, so that's a good thing. I'm happy. I'm good. Yeah.
It's beautiful. It's a good weather there in Cape Town. Yeah,
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's hot but windy, so that's a good there.
Go to the beach, guys. Go to the beach.
You can still go to the beach. You just have to stay in the water. Because if
Yeah,
you come
yeah.
out, then the wind is going to be sand all over you.
Buffeting you.
Got some of your experience here. And I think the question I want to start with is like, we always try to tell the story and get it from the beginning. But do you remember the first piece of clothing that you actually remember? Like, okay, this was taken on me and it's like, okay, that was a piece.
Oh, wow. First piece of clothing.
That comes to mind.
First piece.
I think a denim dungaree. A denim dungaree. And I remember that because I really loved it. I was quite young. I think I was 4 or 5. Yeah, so that's the first piece of clothing that comes to my
Who
mind.
would have influenced that fashion decision?
My mom.
Yes.
My mom, absolutely. I mean, she obviously went with us to the stores, got the dungarees, and I loved them. I loved them quite a lot. I actually still love dungarees, but I just don't wear them as much.
Did I know something? Or something in the air?
Look at Sheriff.
He said,
So I can assume, therefore, that the love for fashion or the love for the industry of fashion started at a young age there.
I think the love for storytelling more than the love for fashion started a long time ago.
Yeah. How did I even start storytelling?
I think I didn't know that I loved storytelling as much as I did, right? But I just think as a young person, I love to write. I loved to speak to people and then get their stories and then write about it. So I think that's how that started. I think I was maybe 12 or somewhere there.
Wow.
Mm.
Is this 12 when you started formally writing now?
I think, yes, formally writing, but not really writing for anyone, but just writing for interest. And then I think around that time, I also got interested in magazines. So I'd obviously go to check out a couple of magazines. And it was, that's when it started. That's when it started. But I didn't really know it was a thing. You remember when you're young, you're just thinking,
you
I
having
like
fun.
magazines. I
Yeah,
like to, picture books. I like cutting pictures. But Joe might be too young for this. Picture
the
books.
picture is
Now it's there, bro.
Secure me. I want to know what's happening in generations above. Not that that are above us, but as a medium for writing, I want to get a little bit into that. How have you seen it evolve in the time that when you first got into it, in maybe like a way that wasn't as formal as to where it's got into now?
I think I've been in this industry possibly 15 years, somewhere there. It's really evolved from initially when one gets in, there's a lot of storytelling has changed its form. So storytelling used to be long form. There's still some platforms like magazines where it's long form, but also it's become short term through short form, through videos, through social media. But there's still space for that long term storytelling. But I think storytelling it's become quite interesting because, like, for example, if you see even the magazine you're looking at, we have a cover story, then we've got videos. So it's different platforms appealing to different people.
because now as someone who's been in the industry for such a period of time where you see the changes, you have to react to the changes in real time. When people are like, "Oh no, newspapers are dead," you're like, "Well, that's my business." So how does it look like now? Like when I open up a magazine, like is it still like 2 pages worth of article, or excuse you? Did you have to like think about it and be like, "Oh, okay, this is the breakdown now. This is how we market to these people."
No, I think what it is, you need to understand where the different audiences are. But you also need to continue with the formula, but you just need to know where to touch the different people. So there's still people who read magazines. You give them stuff that they don't get on the internet. So you give them long form stories, you give them exclusive interviews. Then online you do videos, you do website articles. So there's a whole way of looking at it. It's I think initially when it began, a lot of magazines became scared. Like, what do we do? But I think what we did, obviously with the teams I've worked with throughout the years, was to come up with new ways of reaching all the different markets. I mean, there's TikTok now, there's Instagram, there's YouTube, there's the digital platform, there's mailers. So it's just like looking at these are the people, how do we reach them?
There's so many ways to communicate, Paul.
Absolutely.
It's almost 2025. Like next year we'll be doing brain transfers.
It's on the way. I hope. It's way.
You see there. How are you doing it? How are you interacting with us? If it gets so instantaneous that it's like,
listen, it's because as much as I work for a magazine currently, I don't think my life is going to be magazines forever. So I think wherever I move to, I will come up with different ways to communicate with whatever my audience is.
yeah, try it. I would say try, test it, and prove it. There you go for it.
With that solid format, what would you say the archetype looks like for someone that's actually going to purchase a magazine, physical copy, and reading the article?
What do you mean?
Like, what did you say the audience looks like?
Oh, yeah.
Are there certain age? Are there certain gender?
That's the breakdown. Yeah, different demographic.
The audience varies really, hey? The audience really varies. I think it's age-wise, it's not always the older generation. People think it's the older generation, but it's not. I mean, like, for example, Blackie. It's the young audience. But I think the audience varies depending on who's on the cover, one. Two, the audience varies depending on where they read it. Because, for example, we've got the print copy, which is the slightly older people. Then we also have the digital copy where you can download and read it on your iPad, read it on your phone, read it on your phone. So the audience is still different, but it's like at 41, I would rather hold a magazine. Someone else, exactly. You understand? Someone else at 25, my younger brother, would rather download it and go through it on his phone. Yeah. But it's still the same magazine, still same messages. We obviously will get different things from it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Before we get too far away from like the origin story and you get into all these future forecasting stories and like the breakdown, I want to take us back to the beginning because like at the end of the day, the point is to inspire. The point is to start a fire somewhere, someone who's watching.
Tell
Tell that story. And you had the inspiration to start with Exalted, right?
Oh wow.
Oh no! He said research. Oh okay. Oh, you don't know that? Okay. All right.
What can I say? Oh, yeah. So you had the inspiration to start with Exalted before you got all these opportunities to get out there. So I want to break that down. Like, could you know that this is the way forward? Like, for me to get here, I need to do this.
I think when I started with Exalted, and
You're gonna tell them what
and for
Exalted
those
is.
who don't know, Exalted is our it was a Christian magazine at the church that I used to attend back then. And Exalted is just a simple word, exalting God. I think when I started with it, I just was interested in storytelling. I didn't think deeper. It was really about, I love to tell stories. How do I tell stories? There's so many people within the church that had amazing stories. How do I tell their stories? And that was it, really. I literally started from passion, and every week would release one. It was exciting. We would do layouts. It was nice, man. It was very, and that was it. But the plan was not at that time to get into where I am. The plan was like, I kind of enjoy this. I think this is great. I'm good at it. Let me do it.
That's a little bit crazy. Hey?
Yeah.
But it also adds on to whatever opportunity will come in the future because you've got the experience to build and tell stories in a different kind of format. And yeah, cool.
No, this is gonna be like it's crazy because you see this thing that you like.
Yeah.
You have no plan to do it in the future. You're just writing.
Just passion.
The passion. And writing is a special one. You also have a passion for writing. You also, he writes video, he writes poetry, and he publishes somewhere. Maybe something else one day. But like for me, writing is a special one because you really gotta love writing to write. Like it's not something you do half-heartedly because it gets really tiring.
Listen, when you love something, right, you don't think about it. It's not a thought. You just do it.
You just do it.
And especially when you're younger. When you're younger, it's much easier to just do it because you don't have to worry about being a grown-up. So at that time, that was what it was. I was young. I was just doing what I did. I was enjoying what I was enjoying. So I think that's how it started, and that's how I got excited and ended up here.
Does it still
Many
exist?
years later. No, it doesn't. It doesn't exist. And there's no reason why, but I just think I just grew.
Yeah.
As I grew, life took me in different directions and I ended up doing other things, yeah.
That would have been so cool though. You just said, hey, here you go, consider this for me.
But then where would I get the time right now?
That's
That
the
would
truth.
be very hard. Yeah,
That's the truth. That's the truth.
One of the big things that we try to like say on our platforms in our personal lives, and it comes through on you, was the art of storytelling. And I see already in your drip today, even though you didn't do the drip can.
No, we do.
They didn't do the drip cap. I mean, come on, guy.
All right, ladies and gentlemen.
All right.
Because now you guys are attacking me. Yours.
It's sorry, the
Drip cam. So what you got on today?
So I have, it's Senshui. Yes, I have Senshui.
I did take the nap.
This is the new collection from Mr. Price.
Mr. Price.
She won SA Fashion Week menswear last year. Yeah, 2023. So that's what I have on. Then I've got, this is Fenty sneakers, Broke Boys cap.
Family.
Yeah.
Yes, I keep the signature. The denims?
Say Senshui.
Oh,
Same denim. It's denims. It's this. There's another denim top. It's quite dope. I saw the collection earlier and I was like, oh wow, this is really good.
I like the fact that she's putting high fashion into such a retail brand.
Yes, absolutely.
The cuts are perfect.
No, the cuts are perfect, and I also think like the good thing about it is you. I'm sure this is going to be sold out when it comes out. Yeah, because it's not stuff. Even the price point, you won't find that price point
Going crazy.
anyway. So
Must
it's
be
like,
now showing unreleased.
you have exactly. And what AKA said, what my outfit is on some like this ain't out yet. So yeah. It was back.
He was face being the editor GK.
So yeah. So that's the
the
fashion
fit.
camp. Yeah.
Tell me what you're wearing.
Yet again, guys, I'm saying shout out to Solid, guys. They got us in the new Look at him joining me today. Look at us both wearing Solid.
Twinning on the
Shout
shirt.
out to
I love the
Zolani,
tees.
guys. Twinning, beautiful tees, nice collection out there. Check it out everywhere now. We're in store right now. Yes, what's happening?
As you can see. One thing I do like about this is like he takes time because the t-shirts are always like for me they're very particular thing. You have to cut them nice. You have to make sure they sit nice, and you can't just slap things on. So I really like how he takes time to like curate. It feels like it was individually made for me.
I can see that. I can see
Right?
that. Yeah,
And
yeah.
I love that. I love that. Tons of Solid, take it out. Fire for the ladies as well. You know, we'll share this one.
The season is coming,
Our season coming through.
But
Yeah.
I want to get into storytelling again because it's very evident your affinity to local brands. They see it now, the way you dress, and obviously
Fully local, besides the Rihanna.
Hello,
Rihanna.
with the connection with the Boat Boys, Malcolm and Minnie from Refuse.
Yes, yes, yeah.
What does local branding mean to you, and what importance do you think it has, like on the South African like fashion industry?
And I had a scale to that. And I want you to take this question from the perspective of being probably the head of a fashion like doctrine of like it's an extremely important player. Yeah.
It's not the most.
There's a lot of weight behind what you're about to say. You heard this? The pressure.
Listen, I think local brands. So here's the thing with me. For as long as it's great quality, we'll definitely push it. What I love about local brands is that they always have a story. I know international brands obviously also have their own story, but local brands always have a story. And for me, that's what attracts me to local brands. But I also think the most important thing is being a person who runs the type of platform that I run, being a head of a brand like that, to focus light on other brands that people may not know about, give the young ones, whether young or old, whatever, the different brands that are not known, space for them to showcase what they do. So for me, I actively work on doing that. And especially if I believe in something, it may not necessarily be my style, which I constantly say to people that I have learned with time that you don't have to, something doesn't have to be your style. So when you look even through the magazine, you're not going to see what Molife wears, but you're going to see what is really cool, what we really think as a team is on the pulse of culture and what is great. But you won't see the same thing over and over again, because after this one, we must give another person a chance. We must give another person a platform. Yeah.
And trends evolve over that time too. And I think one trend I've seen recently in South Africa, the collaboration between local brands and your Mr. Prices.
Yes.
What have you seen? What's been the impetus for them to actually see, okay, there's value in commercializing what's relevant on the streets and in the communities in South Africa?
I think it comes from, first, the teams leading those brands, seeing that there's some cool ways for them to really, one, plug into the culture.
Are you talking about the cultural brand or the Mr. Price brand now?
No, just generally.
Okay.
No, not necessarily with Surprise only. I mean, I think there is some like Mr. Price. We've got Tresemme, who just partnered with Umakosa. We've got people like Volvo, who partnered with Rich Manisi at some point. Adidas, with Tebe Magugu, Savannah, Wanda Leporto. So there are a lot of brands who are plugging in. I think one, it's about plugging into the culture. Two, it's about giving back in a way. So a lot of people don't think it's giving back because people think, oh, we're great anyway, as the fashion designers, and they are great. But sometimes if you get a brand putting in money to what you do and say your audience is, say, 20,000,
okay,
we are multiplying that by 10 and saying 200,000 people can now access your things at this particular store. So for me, I think it's giving a platform and giving back in a way. So that's how I see it as twofold. I see it absolutely from the creators saying that their work is dope, but I also see from the corporate saying we're giving you a platform and we're giving back in a way, because they could have just done it in-house, but they're not doing that. They're saying let's plug into the
100%.
culture.
And there's been many examples of like other street brands getting copied, if I could say so.
Yes,
So they could easily just be like, you know what, that's very cool. Boom, here's our own version of it. So I'd like to just build up on that question. As a corporate, what are you looking for to be like, this is a cool designer I can work with? This is someone who's like doing something that's like relevant and speaks to our brand. Like, what are those key points they're looking for?
So, listen, I think, so from a perspective that is us as GQ, listen, if your work is great and if it aligns to what GQ stands for, happy, we can definitely work together. I think corporates possibly look at also sometimes the bottom line. Will this sell in our store? Will our audiences resonate? I know Old Khaki and Broke Boys had a collaboration. A lot of people bought those jerseys. So I think it's those two things. Will it affect the bottom line? Will it resonate with our audience? And what's your brand story as well?
So story, resonance, and motion. Do you have motion? You gotta have a little bit of motion.
Yes, absolutely.
So how big is the motion now? Because it's like, I have 5,000 people who are on my platform looking at me. And then maybe like when I'm out in the streets, everyone's wearing my caps. Like, is that enough to be like, whoa, let me submit a proposal?
Yeah.
Yes.
But it's because remember, so sometimes numbers on social don't translate to
reality.
numbers of buying something. So if someone is really like within the pulse of culture, they're in culture. And if their quality is great, the quality is great.
Yeah, it speaks
You
way
cannot
style
deny
tonight.
that. But
Yeah,
also they also need to then play a part to be in the right rooms, to be associated with the right brands, to be at the right events, to network, to just put themselves out there. So you can't say my stuff is great and just sit at home and you just go like, yeah, I'm the best. Oh, and then like, because you know.
Yeah. I love you touched on the value of networking and the importance of it to one, I think, open up your perspective or your brand or your mind. What advice would you give to upcoming designers, artists, everyone in these kind of spaces, or how you must look to network to one, upskill yourself and also upskill your brand? Where do you find those spaces? Where do you find like-minded people?
I think the first most important thing is you need to understand what your brand is.
Yeah.
What is your brand? Like, and after understanding what your brand is, where can you find people who are associated with that brand? Where can you find those? Then try to get yourself in those spaces. And when you're in those spaces, network in a way that is productive, but also it's important how you carry yourself. I think for me, that's very important, because if you get access to a certain space, you're a young creative, young designer, young artist, young musician, how you carry yourself is also important. Because now you can't get there and be too drunk or whatever and too forward.
Why are you bringing up my stories, bro?
Or like you can't be too forward or anything like that. Because remember, then you don't know who you're talking to. You don't know if this is the person who's holding the king. You know what I mean? And then the next thing they're thinking about, that really loud guy at that place. And like, oh, this loud guy is coming to do a presentation. You know, it's all those small little things that you need to pay attention to. What story do you have?
No, leave me alone.
We're
Leave me
here.
alone.
We're here
bro.
now. We're here now. What's here now?
No, we share a couple Hennessy stories.
We'll see. Put me down with it. Okay. Sure. What happened?
No, he just complains a lot. The last time I did so much with the Hennessy, I think he got the brunt of my.
That was also his. No, stay here. That's what happened to brothers. We made tussle again. I was a bit too loud.
But you still haven't said anything. What happened?
What had happened was...
Okay, what happened, right? We were at a specific establishment down the road.
Yeah.
Shout out Sook. Shout out Sid. That's how Mr. Sook. It was a vibe. Everything in the establishment is perfect, proper. On the way home, the Hennessy reactivated.
Okay. And it said, hey.
It was like, and I know he said,
and I will
wow.
Hey, it burns a little bit. And I think because we were walking, we stayed down the road. That whole walk down, I was being the most annoying I could be. You know what I'm saying?
You're going home, so it's okay. You didn't act a fool at the place, so it's okay.
So he took the brunt of it here.
That's what friends are for.
At the fair. Sorry about it. But nah, as someone who scaled up from Exalted, then you did Drum Magazine, then you did House and Garden.
House and Garden, I was so with the House and Garden, Glamour and GQ at that time. I was the online editor and head of digital.
Yes. You did online editor for House and Garden and
GQ and Glamour. Yeah.
Wow, at the same time.
Yeah.
Because I wanted to ask you, you show scale. You show the ability to scale over time. How do you get that formula right? How do you scale over time? Individually, for the brand? Like, how do you go about that?
I think, and that's a very good question, and I never say that's a good question. So shout out. I think so what I do is I immerse myself in whatever I need to do. So I try to understand the brand, whatever brand it is. Then I try to understand what my role in it is, and especially when I was with Glamour, House and Garden, and GQ on the online editor side, I had to follow the right platforms online. I had to keep abreast in terms of trends and also just see what people who are interested in that brand are listening to, are talking about, and are interested in. So it's not an easy task, but I think once you know what you want, then you have the goals to say, I'd like to get to these numbers by this time. Then you're able to move through with a great team. Also, who you have in your team is also important. And how you lead the team is also very important.
Let's break that down. So, like, what would the badge fit for the team be? Because I mean, we a lot of young creators, artists, business people in the room, and we work with each other. We also work with a lot of other people. And one of the key things that I've always been hearing in and amongst my peers is, wow, team. Either my team is great or my team is not so great. And this is the issues we're facing. And it doesn't always look like it's a people problem sometimes. So I'll share a mindset. But then how do you identify that, like, okay, wait, maybe this isn't the best team for me right now?
I think so I learned a couple of years ago, you need to figure out who's who in your team. And what I mean by that is, and I don't know if I'll be able to say it the correct way.
Take your time.
There's a particular way. So you need to know who the workhorse is. You need to know who the problem child is. You need to know who the star is. I think there are 5 categories of it.
Personality, yeah.
So if you know who those people are, so they're like workhorses, for example. Workhorses are those people who will work and push the work all the time at any point.
That are both and they're going.
But then you need to know how to guide the workhorse as well, because they do what they're told to do. Then you've got the problem child. The problem child is one who needs to be constantly acknowledged, constantly affirmed. But if you manage them well, they can be the star child. Then there's a star child who just excels constantly. But the star child can also become the problem child if they're not acknowledged. So what's the best?
The star child wants to be like
wants to be affirmed, and most millennials want to. I mean, I think also in Gen Zs,
we deserve it, bro.
Well, so I think just understanding who's in your team, what their personalities are, and where to put them, and be able to maneuver that. Because I think one of the biggest challenges that we have as leaders or managers is we paint everyone with the same brush.
Wow.
And that's a challenge, because some people don't need to be told 20,000 times to do something. Some people want you to say, well done, that's great. They're like your baby. You say, well done, that's great, and they'll do even more. Some people just want to be given a task, left to do it, and go ahead and do it. And so you just need to be able to maneuver that. And then I think how you see someone who's not a good fit for your team. So generally, even with human beings, I can tell within the first 15 minutes if myself and a person won't gel, generally. But at the same time, team-wise, because then that's a different dynamic. Because that's not, it's not my
It's
personal.
not my personal.
life.
I can't just say, hey.
I think the most important thing is just when someone comes into the team, for you to be able to just lay ground rules or help them see the bigger picture
Yeah.
and how they fit in it. You know, help them see the bigger picture and how they fit in it. What I have found with young creators at times is they get into a space so brilliant, super whatever, then the reality of the actual work. Because there's a difference between you being creative and the work. Because you actually need to grind. Exactly. Yeah. So sometimes, so it's always, it's like you need to maneuver, man. You need to just maneuver and also be a great leader.
Yeah.
Because also a great leader produces a great team.
100%.
Because even if there are problems within the team, you're able to go like, okay, here's where the problem is. How can I fix it? You're not quickly to go like, oh, but this team, what are you doing? Are you leading by example? What might be happening between you and your team that's causing the dysfunction?
That's beautiful. So, okay, man.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, so if you had to look at like each one here eye to eye and be like, here's the one thing I've learned as a leader over time, as a creative leader, what would that thing be?
So first, lead with humanity.
Lead is humanity.
Lead with humanity. Lead with direction. Lead with enthusiasm. And why the enthusiasm and passion is extremely important is during the times when you don't want to do it, during the times when it's heavy for your team, they need to see a leader who's interested and passionate, despite
The doubt
everything.
is, yeah.
So even if you are not happy, whatever, they need to see a leader who goes like, okay, guys, I know it's not great, but come on, let's go. So, and I also think, understand the people in your team. Yeah, understand the people in your team, and learn from your team. And I think that's something that I'm constantly learning myself.
Yeah.
I'm constantly learning, and it's an area of growth as well, where I'm constantly learning. Recently at a shoot, I had to tell my acting fashion director, Tanya, that, you know what, you were right. Because there's something that I wanted. Then she's like, come on, how about we try this? I was like, I want this. It's like, how about we try this? Okay, fine. I give in, try it.
Yeah.
And I looked at it, I was like, actually, you know what? You were right.
kills it.
That goes a long way.
It does.
Inspire them to be.
Yeah, it is. It does go a long way, but I also think it's also important, man, to be open, to know that you don't know everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's super important.
I think what I wanted to touch on is obviously yourself and your team have been behind countless GQ covers. What would you say is a consistent theme between all of the stories of everyone that's featured on GQ?
They're just striving to be their best.
In their specific field or the best of themselves?
In their field and of themselves. They've reached a certain level that allows them to be profiled on the cover of GQ, but they're also working hard.
We're
to
still
be
striving.
better. I think that is the core, really, of everyone you'll ever see. You'll think they've arrived, but kinda, but not really.
They
Yeah.
probably don't think they've arrived. Therefore, the work will still continue.
The work will still continue.
So it's like, thank you so much for having me, but damn, I gotta work. Like,
I gotta come back.
as I said,
I need to be able to maintain this.
Yeah.
And on that, would you, without giving too many nuggets away, could you break down what it looks like to get this out from conception? Was someone part of the team that brings up, okay, guys, let's go to the Black Hills. There's a conversation happening with that brand to brand, with Sprite to GQ. How does that come up from start to when it's in my hands right now?
Oh wow, it's you want me to relive that? I'll tell you this, ne? I'll tell you this about that issue. So we were working with 2 magazines at the same time. So next week, which is the 15th of November, we drop our first ever GQ style in 5 years, right? So we were working on the November issue plus GQ style at the same time. My team was tired. People were irate. People were, so it was a lot. So even yesterday, right, and even this morning, when I looked at the magazine, I was like, yeah, we did it. Because when you are involved in the process of approving every single page, like I look at every single page, like every single page, and approving, no man, it's my job as well. So you almost sometimes, it can become mundane,
Yeah.
right? But
Fine.
what happened with this was,
So what do we need?
because I also had to carry the team. It's like, I'm tired, but I'm leading.
Yeah.
So let's go.
It's that enthusiasm you speak about.
It's that enthusiasm, and it's just that extra step on a certain day. But to take you through it, how it starts is, we say we have an issue coming up, come up with themes, sit in a room and brainstorm ideas of what features we'd like to put in the magazine, obviously based on the themes. And then from there, move to do the shoots, conceptualize the shoots. Because usually what I'll say is, for this shoot, I would like this. This is my vision. Communicating to my fashion director or fashion editor. They do a mood board according to what I said. I look at it, I say yes, I say no, we go back and forth. We do the shoots. Then while the team in the background are writing the different content, then it's back and forth. Then we finally bring the magazine. It's a long process, but it's a beautiful one. I mean, I also work quite a lot with my art director, Keenan, who designs most of the magazine. We go back and forth as well. I'm like, no, I don't like this. Like, no, but I was, so it's a lot of back and forth, a lot of tough laughs sometimes, but good.
So in the very first conversation that we had, I was like, yo, over the past few years, I've definitely seen a change in the energy that GQ has, It's from when I was a child. I've always been a child of fashion, loving the industry, loving the arts, the creative space. And GQ's always been super important just in that world. But there's definitely a time in which I feel like the energy changed. Maybe it just wasn't as like active or as inside anymore. And then when you jumped on, like there was that complete difference again. It then became hard. It became quote unquote cool again.
Thank you.
So I'm like,
I hope you're not saying it because I'm here.
no, we've spoken about this though.
We've
We've spoken about this though.
Yeah. And are you agreeing because it's true? Do you feel the same way?
The thing is with GQ and how I feel about magazine principle is that I'm of the mind that if you don't have a digital presence at all, eventually you're going to be on your deathbed very soon.
Yeah.
So it's been so refreshing to see yourself and your team be able to balance both and make it cool for someone like me who grew up with magazines all around the house, because that's how those glamour magazines you talk about, I can see them in my house right now, still where it's house.
And
they're still there. So being able to balance the two and keep a relevance amongst so many different markets, it shows that, one, the brand has the power that's still GQ. To be on that cover, whoever you're on, whatever kind of feel, it's a thing of like, I want that for my year. It's on your bucket list. But now it's also a thing of like, if I'm a TikTok star and I'm trying to make it something else, I also want that thing. So that relevance is very important. It's very clear that I don't know how the team meetings go and the conversation does, but it comes out in the product. So that means it's part of the process that guys will work and work towards this specific.
Trying to make something that's different. So from your perspective, what did you do that was so different to give GQ that second life or that like rejuvenation of vibe?
Wow. I think it was intentional. But I also wanted the magazine to appeal to people that I also knew that perhaps at a certain time had a disconnect. So I think that's what it is. I mean, we needed to be at the pulse of culture. So you need to almost like scope the area. What's going on here? How can we play a part? And who's behind the scenes who can introduce to people? What's happening that our audience doesn't know about, that we can tell them and help us to pivot.
You gotta be outside.
Word culture.
Yeah.
I think us on all different kinds of levels, we use it a lot. We use it a lot to relate to people. We can even go towards like I love the stories of refuse when you talk about the actual print and it's this based on the braid. Oh, a specific thing. Like I love the details. Exact. I love the details you think. So I say that to ask, what does culture mean for you? And also, what do you think are kind of the key points that brands look for to one, be involved in the culture and amplify it so that it reaches the people that it wouldn't have reached before?
Wow. I think what culture means to me is what is relevant in that sphere at that time. So this could be what's relevant in, let's say, banking. It's a banking culture. What's relevant in fashion? What's relevant in medicine? Because I think a lot of times when we speak of culture, we only think it's creative. No, but it's what's relevant in that particular industry at that time. Who are people making strides? Who are people changing things, shaking up things?
In trailblazers.
Yes, being trailblazers in that industry, whatever it may be. So it's not limited to creative only. As to what brands look for, I think brands look for those trailblazers. Brands look for where the conversation is and who is leading the conversation or who is respected within that conversation. Then they plug into it.
That's fire.
I have a question that will take us a little bit left, but through a business and a brand journey, there can be ups and downs. What advice would you give to, let's say, a fashion brand that isn't selling like they want to, isn't top of mind, isn't getting that engagement?
When the boys are down.
In that room. Where yes, first person, whether you're Christian or you're not Christian, whatever it is you believe in, when that vision was placed on your heart or in your spirit, you are the only one who was there. So you're the only person who can articulate that vision better than anyone else.
Yeah.
So if whatever vision you have is what you believe is what you're supposed to do, push through it consistently. There will be sideways here and there, but I'll give you my example. At some point, I believed that I was going to get into magazines and do this. That was something that was dropped in my spirit. On the outright, at that time, it didn't look like it.
Yeah.
But because I had audacity and shameless persistence, I was like, but I saw this in the spirit realm. I saw it somewhere. I know I'm going to do it. So it's a matter of just pushing through what you know is true. But also understanding that the time will come for it to show up. Focus, and also as much as you can get inspiration, as much as you can find out what's going around. Don't mimic. Don't try to be the next whatever, because they're already taken. There's only one you. There's only one blueprint that is
Only one there as well.
But it's not top 5. What's top 5? I watched it. Yes. I watched it. Oh, it is.
So Timberland will ask you a question and he gets to put up whatever he has to put up. Is that the bad? They're wrong. So let's
do it. Okay. Let's do it whichever way you guys want to do it.
do you have an idea?
No, I don't.
I don't.
Let's PCS.
He do. So both of us will ask you a question and you have to give us 5 things in those categories that consist of your top 5 of that. So for example, favorite sneakers. You'll be like, well, the fancy Rihas. Or then you'll be like, well, I like Crocs as well.
Is it Riha?
Yeah.
Not Riha.
Okay, so
Yes. So,
Molife,
first, thank you so much for today. You know, only that bring up has released to definitely have more conversations.
I appreciate you for your patience. Because it's been long.
So did you directly up there on me?
no, I mean like that, right?
Cool. I want to know, what are the top 5 things for you that excite you about the sci-fi fashion industry?
Yeah.
So I'll just say creative industry. Young brands born out of passion That's one. The fact that, and it's been going on for a long time, so it's not really new, but it still excites me. The fact that African brands are represented globally through people who have a bigger reach wearing them. That excites me because then that puts you on the map, whoever you are. Collaborations between bigger brands with money and influence, H&M, Lulama, H&M, Yay Ape, Mr. Price and Shui, Richmond Lissy. So the fact that brands that have money, global brands, are partnering with our local designers and local creative, super exciting. That's number 3. 4, and this is music. What excites me is that we have some beautiful music in South Africa. Like some really beautiful music, engineering, lyrics. The talent is there. Like it's some of the songs. You're just like, okay, this song really does not like it's a line going on and on, but it's a vibe.
Yeah,
so that's exciting.
It's 5 minutes in, but it just feels like it just started.
I'm still here.
5. What excites me is seeing a lot more different creators come into the space, not seeing the same faces consistently over and over again. I'm happy about that because I think let's give each other a chance. Let's different stories tell.
Yeah, 100%. Just like my turn. So let's put some weight behind this, right? Is there, Chris. So I'm asking this question because I want to put on, I want to the names you're about to mention, I want them to come to the forefront. So I'm like, you say creator of, right? Let's stick to that. Give me the 5 brands you're looking for that are up and coming and that you're looking out for. You personally.
Okay, yes, cool.
Yes.
So the first one is called Trauma. Yes. The young brand based in Johannesburg.
Okay.
I'm not sure where. I think it's Timbisa, if I'm not mistaken. Trauma. I met the guy who owns the brand at one of my trips in Joburg. Very young. They have beautiful clothes. And what I loved about it is, right, they're very, it's quality. These are young guys in their 20s, early 20s. Quality, and the story behind it basically is the name Trauma was coming from the fact that they used the brand and the stories they tell to heal from whatever trauma they had. So that name Trauma, that's a brand I'm really loving. Another brand, oh my word, top 5.
You think about 6, 7, 8.
Listen, I'm not even thinking about more. I'm just thinking about the
Take your time with it, no word. No pressure. Because that's the thing now. You gotta dissect them and make 5 again.
Yes. King Henry. King Henry is a photographer. He works with the RTC, Austin Malema, and those guys. Absolutely. He's a creative that's on my mind. I think he will do great. He's been doing great. I think he's going to do even greater things.
Wow.
Musician Zine Malo. I think she is, like, she's just
Energy suited to the music, but also still alive. She's
just lovely, man. And then she performs like this like petite young lady, but when she performs, the dynamite is crazy. There is, what is he called? Oh Lord, I forgot his name. I think his name is Pop Culture something. It's like he's a TikToker / Instagrammer who really does a lot of interviews with celebrities, but then he will do like a red carpet thing where he's talking and saying, "Oh, I saw this." I think it's pretty cool because the commentary is great. It's new. It hasn't been done, at least not in South Africa. So that's number 4. Number 5. Oh wow!
Take your time. There's no more after this one.
We're more up there. Yeah.
Wow!
Did it come from the heart?
I'm trying to think. Like it's no, not even that. Not even that. I just think I'm very. Most of the people that I know who are great that I love are already there and they're doing their thing.
Yeah,
Right?
okay.
And there are a lot of impressive creatives that are out there doing amazing things. So it's a tie between. There's Chloe. Chloe. Well, I'll just say Chloe Andrea because I forgot how to pronounce her surname. She's a creative, amazing creative, a stylist, creative director. Really cool. Worked on her for GK Star. Worked with her for GK Star. Really, really cool. Love her creativity. Then also Toss, the musician. I think Toss is. I think that guy is onto something. He's onto something. It's like you know, like it's like people won't see him coming. I think we see him coming, but we don't really see him coming. Yeah.
And you're not paying the mind bill whilst that's always
Yeah.
where it needs to be.
Yeah.
One of the smart.
So those are my top 6, not 5.
I will take them.
Yeah.
Take them. They'll decide it. They take the ball.
Take the ball.
Bring it.
But I want to say, Molife, thank you so much for joining us. You've been a member of the Posties family. I'm not just making that up. This is the truth.
It's really amazing.
And I think the one thing I really want to commend you for, what else and I speak about all the time, is the fact that you're accessible in the sense that you see the importance of culture and how what it leads to be propelled to the next level. And it's not a hag that is useful for one thing. It's a thing of like, it's give and take, and we can build those communities together. So I want to say thank you for that. Thank you for coming to our platform.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I want to say thank you to everyone here. Guys, hi, someone back. See, how are you? Hi. Shout out to the Slam, calling here Influx, guys. I want to say shout out to Solid. Shout out to Solid. One time. I used to see where drips are, guys. Support local. Kickstarted. And as always, guys, the journey is yours.
Thank you. All guests.